Hi guys, welcome to my vlog. So, I've been thinking about starting a vlog for a while. I watch a lot of vlogs and I find them very useful. And so I hope that this can be useful to someone. Um, for those of you who already watch my theory lessons, I wanted to have a kind of separate space where I can talk about things more generally and just kind of talk about things that I'm working on and things that I'm thinking about. And yeah, and hopefully this can be of use, or maybe we can start some discussions. I'd love to interact more with everyone who watches my videos in general. And so yeah, here's my first vlog. Some things that I've been thinking about a lot recently and in the past few years or so. I've really kind of realized the importance of dealing with tiny bits of information. And what I mean by that, um, I've definitely found it very important and useful to try to learn something every day. And a lot of times that something will be something very small. Like with transcribing, for example. You know, a lot of people talk about the importance of transcription. And some of the most useful things I've ever transcribed have been like, you know, half a bar sometimes, or, just one little phrase or lick that I was just able to extract a lot of information out of. And I think this really kind of coincides with this whole idea that music is like a language. You know, when we think about how we learn to speak a language, we often we often consider it, like an adult who is already knows how to speak a language, who is learning a second, or third language. And make a lot of sense structurally because you can use the other language to, you know, for translation purposes. You can always kind of have something to reference it to. But the thing with music is it doesn't really have a direct translation a lot of times. It's kind of like learning a new language from scratch, like as if you're a baby. So I like to think about that. Like, how do babies actually learn how to just speak out of not knowing anything, right? And when you think about it, a baby starts out just by imitating sounds, making random sounds or sounds that, kind of mimic what they think people speaking sounds like. That's why a lot of times you'll start to hear goo goo, mama, all these different syllables and stuff being strung together that aren't words yet, but it sounds like talking. Um, and so I think music is exactly the same way. We have to start by just imitating little things and really just trying to grasp onto anything really at first, just so you can start to have a sound. And once you've kind of acclimated yourself with enough sounds, then we can start talking about some of the deeper, finer tuning kind of details of the language of music. Like grammar, for example. We don't start teaching kids grammar and sentence structuring until they've reached a certain age and they've already been speaking for years. So I think it's important with music to really just imitate and latch on to any kind of sounds that you can, learn any information that you can at all. And all those tiny bits of information just kind of add up after a while. I'll just play a line. Let's say, right? What was that? Make sure I can do it twice. So that was my own lick. I didn't transcribe that from anybody. I basically made it up. But there's a lot of tiny bits of information that I kind of used from my just overall collection of knowledge in order to construct that. And so, firstly, the notes that I'm playing are G major scale, and I was kind of thinking. I guess I was kind of thinking of maybe like a A minor 7 chord, and starting on the ninth. And not only that, but the articulation of it. That's something that I hear a lot of saxophone players do. I definitely know I've heard Coltrane. I've listened to a lot of John Coltrane, and one thing I've kind of noticed is he'll often do this thing where with various lines, where he kind of does a big slide up into the first note, and then he just like descends downward from there. And you can apply that same. You can apply that to a lot of different lines. And the thing that I'm thinking about is a very small detail, and a lot of the other things, that are happening are kind of autopilot in a way. Really, I'm focusing on just getting that kind of Coltrane horn-like sound, when I play a line like that. Yeah, and I often kind of think about really when I'm improvising. I'm often thinking about the thing that I'm actually thinking about is often like a very very small portion of all the stuff that I'm actually playing, and I'm kind of allowing all that other stuff to go on autopilot in a way. Like another example, I hear Kenny Garrett. I listen to a lot of Kenny Garrett. Love horn players. Love saxophone players. And a thing I hear him do a lot is like he'll start a line, you know. He'll start a line somewhere. It could be anywhere, and he'll kind of descend in this kind of motion. You can do it with a lot of different scales and lines. It's kind of just like a rhythmic pattern, and also a scale pattern, like repeated notes. I probably got this originally by transcribing one little Kenny Garrett phrase, but that phrase, it's such a small detail, but there are so many details inside of a single phrase by Kenny Garrett that there's just infinite wisdom that can be gained from it. So yeah, these are some things that I've been thinking about lately, and I hope that this was interesting to you. Please say hi or say anything. Talk to me. Yes.